Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Derek Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And today, we're going to talk about business credit, building it, the DUNS number, the Paydex number. And of course, I have a program, Do It Yourself. Yeah, it does cost. But what's it worth to you when you can get business funding from multiple businesses once you learn it? Plus the fact we're going to talk about it here right now. Getting the free stuff. So welcome. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back. So before we get into it, of course, we got to talk about merch. That's right. Go to StopStrugglingNow.com and you'll see the SSN merchandise link there. Or there'll be a link down here in the description. So go get your merch, please. By the way, the road to the millions, I'm going to still reference that, but it's officially going to be called Emerging Millionaires. So that's right. Since we're doing merch, there's going to be a t-shirt, tank tops, hoodies that's going to say Emerging Millionaire. Not with the S at the end, but for what we're talking about online, it's going to be Emerging Millionaires. But a t-shirt, we're going to have it in a couple weeks. It'll say Emerging Millionaire and have a little funky design to it, of course. So I want to thank Chad Sokolovich, AKA Not That Falcon Coin, who actually came up with Emerging Millionaires. And I want to thank everybody else who chimed in with their take on the name that we should use, but I kind of like the Emerging Millionaires because that's exactly what this is. So that's what it's going to be. So everybody get to the Stop Struggling Now Facebook group and let's get started. So here we go. The business credit. Everybody wants to know. First of all, let's just get this thing straight, man. We got to get real. There's some of you who believe that you can just go down and get an LLC and then basically not even have trade lines and asking about funding. Okay, let's get it straight. Just like anything else, think of business credit. Think of any person that you're going to loan money to. If somebody on the street walked up to you and said, hey, can you give me $10,000? I'm pretty sure you're going to ask for some sort of reference of, are you even making money? Do you have a business location? Anybody asking you for $10,000, you would, and for business money, you'd be saying, okay, where's your business at? Where's your website? What's your business phone number? What other business, or do you have any revenue coming in? Let me check your bank statements. You'd be asking the same questions. Oh, by the way, if you're not asking those same questions and you're going to loan somebody $10,000 for business and expect to get a return on your money, please let me know if it's just going to be stated, because I'll send a whole bunch of people your way. Feel free. But anyhow, back to the let's get real part. So don't be thinking that you're going to just get an EIN number, get a Dun & Bradstreet number, and then the next thing you know that you're going to go down here and try and get a $30,000, $25,000 loan. It can be done, but you're going to have to use your own personal credit, and your personal credit score is going to have to be above 700. With that said, let's get started, because what we're trying to do here is build your credit for long term. We're not trying to do this short term stuff. We want you to be able to do your own business for the rest of your life. Like I said before, wake up when you want to, work when you want to, how you want to, and go on vacation whenever you want to. That's what we're talking about here. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the business credit. Let's start this from the basics because we have a lot of new people here. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for subscribing. And the bottom line is you need to get, first of all, think about your business name, because I rarely talk about this. There's some industries where business funding makes it a little more difficult when you're trying to get business funding. The reason being because when you start talking about you're in the financial services business, or let's say the credit repair business or something of this nature, funding kind of gets a little funky. They don't really like to give substantial amounts of money. I mean, it can be done, but you're going to have established trade lines, established business credit before you can get to that. So it does matter. So just use a general overall name unless you want to pigeonhole yourself. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want to say you're a consultant, that's fine. If you want to say you're management industries or business industries or something along that line, that's what you want to be. All right. You want to make it kind of general, because once you start going down holes saying that you're, this is for my tile business, then it limits you on what type of funding you can get. I rarely talk about this, but that's one of the situations here. And all of this can be learned in the course that we have. It's an online course, do it yourself, take your time, and it starts everything from scratch, even starting with your EIN number, which you go to irs.gov. So everybody on the planet that's in America that has a social security number can go to irs.gov and you apply and get your EIN number. Write it down that day, because if you don't write it down and that screen changes, then you're not going to get your EIN number until it comes in the mail. That's the other thing. If you don't want to use your residential address, I recommend you use Opus Virtual Office. Okay? It's $99 a month. But what this does, it starts you off on the right track. You have a business phone number. You have a business fax number. You sign a piece of paper after you sign up to Opus to get your 411 added. So when they pick up the phone and dial 411, they can find your business. So you're already beating the odds. They actually have it where somebody will answer the phone, like a receptionist. What more can you ask for, right? The receptionist can forward the phone to you. So now your customer is getting forwarded to you, and you're not going to miss a phone call, unless, of course, you're like me and in these locations that you can't get cell service. But nonetheless, at least somebody's there to answer your phone, your business phone. So you have all that taken care of. So all you have to do now is just get your website on Google. And again, you're going to need a website. So I recommend a few other things. When you are trying to get your business name, you also start thinking in your mind, okay, what website can I get? And again, you guys know I reference this as real estate. Each day that goes by, people are buying up domain names and basically parking them. So that's why it's harder and harder to get a great domain name. But you got to mess around. And you would want your domain name to match your business name of some sort. But you're going to need a website so that the business credit people know that you are actually in business. So now you have everything in order. Your phone number, your fax number. You can call them on 411. You can search online and the underwriter says, okay, they have a website. Oh, and they're selling stuff on their website. These are all things that underwriters will look at. So don't be confused. Don't be scared. But we set you up the proper way. And I'm just going to end this video shortly because I mentioned the EIN number, the irs.gov. Now you go to the Secretary of State and you get your LLC. And I've mentioned this before. There's a few states where you really actually want your LLC to be most protected. That is Delaware, Wyoming, and Nevada, because there's this corporate veil thing. At first, it won't matter. The only reason this is ever going to matter is when you're making no money, nobody really gives a damn about you. But all of a sudden, when they see that you have revenues starting at hundreds of thousands of dollars, now a simple slip and fall, a simple I bumped into your car, a simple you told me or talked to me kind of crazy, I got to put a lawsuit against you, and you don't want people taking your assets. So that's why you want to have everything in an LLC. And you don't want to start doing or making the LLC when you open up your bank account in your LLC name. You don't want to treat it like your own piggy bank, because that's the first way to spoil your corporate veil, and it will be pierced. So here's the only downfall with getting places like Wyoming, Delaware, and Nevada, is that if you don't live there and you operate your business in another state, then you're going to have enter the other state. You're going to have to open a foreign LLC in the other state. Now you're going to have to pay the yearly or annual fees in the state you're at, plus if you decided to do Wyoming, Nevada, or Delaware. And my personal favorite, just so you know, I guess I might as well tell everybody, is Wyoming, because why? They protect you the best as far as corporate veils. So in essence, for some people it's worth it, and some people, when you're starting out, you don't have to do anything about it. Now, the other thing about an LLC, you guys have heard me mention this before. You want to make your LLC have shares. So put it in there. You have to put in that there's a value. So any sweat equity is a value. Your cell phone, your car could be in there. Whatever you use for your business as an asset could be in your articles of incorporation, and you could set that as a value. So put in that. There's nothing wrong with saying you have 100,000 shares at 10 cents each. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? There's nothing wrong with you have 5 million shares at 50 cents each. Your value is $2.5 million. Because now that gives your company a value, which also helps down the road. Now, what do you have to do? You have to start making money. Come on now, ladies and gentlemen. You just can't have an LLC and then have trade lines and then expect to get 50,000, 70,000, 100,000 in funding. All right? You got to start doing business. So keep in mind, everything you're doing in business is a tax write-off. I didn't even want to get into it this long because I actually wanted to go down the DUNS and the IRS and do all that on screen. But since we're doing it, I'll keep going. So anyhow, what you want to do is you want to try and keep your holding company always separate. So anytime you have your shares that I was referring to, contact your CPA. I'm not a CPA. Contact your CPA because I like to recommend, I own or designate that if, let's just use an example, 1 million shares, and then I designate, I control 600,000 shares. Okay? So that means more than 50%. So I own all the, any voting rights I can do. So then there's a value attached to it. So I say any money that comes in, give it to me as dividends. Contact your CPA. Reason why? Dividends have a lower tax rate than if you got a 1099. Okay? That's pretty simple. Also, there's this thing about holding companies. If you have enough money to get 2 LLCs and you plan on having revenue and you know you're going to have revenue straight out the box, then what you want to do is you want to have XYZ company as the holding company. You can say 1 million shares there. You can say you own 600,000 there. Then what do? You say that's the holding company. You don't do any business with that. Then you say, I'm going to have another company. So I'll call that Acme. All right. We'll call that Acme Company. So that Acme Company, what we're going to do is we're going to say, again, 1 million shares. Except now we're going to say XYZ Company has 600,000 shares of the Acme Company, which now means I control the voting rights for there too. And now we have the direction going. And now we have other shares that we can sell to potential investors down the road. There's always ways to do things. So now you would have a holding company, and then the Acme Company would actually be doing business. And guess who gets the profits from that business? You pass it up straight up to the other company, the holding company. So there's a protection, a layer of protection that the Acme Company can have because they're separate from the holding company. And the holding company is not doing any business whatsoever. You're just collecting money. Okay, that's it. So that's the little secret sauce right there. All right, the Stop Struggling Now way. So there's nothing wrong with not having a holding company. But what I want to illustrate is you make sure your corporate veil can't be pierced. And even if you can't do the Wyoming, the Nevada, the Delaware, just make sure that you're doing your corporation right. You're not going in there saying, okay, I collected $1,000 today. I'm going to go down there and write myself a check to Eric Bird for $1,000 and then thinking that it's going to be kosher if you got sued, they're going to go, hey, what are you doing? You wrote checks to yourself. Obviously, this is your personal bank account, so this isn't an LLC. All right? So that's how you got to do it. It has to be designated for some business purposes. Just like if you're bringing money in, you have to say, well, you loaned them, and then you got to pay back your other company or other people back the money. So keep all this kind of thing in mind. All right? So where else can we go with this? Because actually, this is going to be long because I wanted to show you on the screen exactly what you can do yourself. And then I'll probably also go into what you can do for free for yourself because I've already mentioned a few of it. But then we can get into it now. So please stay tuned.
All right. Here we are at the YouTube channel. Stop Struggling Now. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the support, everybody. We're already getting close to 4,000 subscribers. Now on with the business. So we're going to go to the website. And before I do that, I mentioned at the beginning of the video that you go to irs.gov, then in the search bar you put in EIN, and then you can go apply right here. Apply for your EIN number. First things first, just to make this easy. Know if you're going to use your residential address, which you can still get business funding, credit card funding, and all that with the residential address, but then there's those that turn you down because it's a residential address for business funding and even credit cards sometimes. So therefore, what you want to do is decide if you want to open up Opus Virtual Office for $99. Use the promo code so you don't have a setup fee. All right, so they treat you right. And that's what you want to do before you do your EIN, because whatever address you want to put down for your EIN, you want to already have that in stone. So you can make that decision now, and if you decide that you have a residential address and you use your EIN for residential, that's fine. But later on, if you want to upgrade to a business address, you don't have to use a virtual. What if you have a real business address that you go down and rent a space? So either way, you can always change your address. That's not a problem. It's just that you want to change your address with everybody. If you get business trade lines, then for each trade line you have, you're going to have to change the address. That's all there is to it. Bank accounts, everything. But nonetheless, this is how you get your EIN number. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. So don't let anybody try and charge you that you can do this. Dun & Bradstreet. You can go to dnb.com. As you can see, I'm there right now. And here's the DUNS number. Pretty simple. You see it on the screen. You apply for it for free. All right? Once you apply for free, they're going to call you on the phone and say, hey, we got this package for you, $1,500, $2,500. No matter if you say no, they're going to call you back 2 or 3 days later, because this is how they're making additional money. But you will get your Dun & Bradstreet DNB number, and then therefore, whenever you open up business trade lines, which you know the usual, the Quill, the Grainger, the Uline, any one of those, first out the box. Let's start slowly with that. And business credit, think of 7, 9, 10 months, 12 months. And again, you can get business funding well before 8 months, 9 months, a year. I'm just saying you want a foundation, set a foundation so you have these trade lines. You have ways of getting trade lines of $5,000 or more reporting on your business credit profiles, whether that's Business Experian, Business TransUnion, Business Equifax. You can get all this reporting, and we're going to have down below some of those trade lines and some of those links. But again, the Quill, the Uline, the Grainger, straight out the box is what you want to do, because Dun & Bradstreet has something called a Paydex score. And just with one of those, you can have a Paydex score of 80, which is decent. At 2 of those, you can still have a Paydex of 80, 85. And once you have a payment history, it can move up. So the more trade lines you have, the better it is. So that's why you want to do as many trade lines as you can. Yes, it's going to cost you money. It's business. It ain't going to be for free. You want business, you want to be successful, this is how you do it. Everything costs in America. In fact, everything costs in the world. It just depends on if you want to pay for it or not. So this is how you keep some people from being successful, because you're blocking them economically. So this is why I'm going over ways that you can get in easily, set yourself up, and now you're going to need some money because you're going to have to buy something from the Quill, the Grainger, and things like that. But you get a net 30 and you don't pay it until it's delivered to your house or business. You pay after it's officially delivered, and you want to pay within 90 days. And some of you have sent me messages saying, hey Eric, it hasn't reported, and it's 45 days later. Okay, Quill, Grainger, and all those guys, sometimes they take 60 days before they report. Sometimes they report in 25, 21 days. It just doesn't matter. But you have to do the net 30 when you order. Okay? Try not to give them social security numbers, even though I know they're going to ask. But that's fine, because you're building business trade lines. You have to have some sort of relationships. Okay? Now, from a business standpoint, whatever business you do, let's say for instance we're doing the t-shirts and I do business with Grand Illusions. Well, that could be something that I can add when I'm applying for credit somewhere else. I'll say, yes, I do business with Grand Illusions. They're a trade line. They basically print my stuff for me. I pay them. So now they can contact him and say, yes, he does business. He pays on time. A phone call. So these little business things that you do, keep in mind that you can add those in when you start doing trade lines and applying for things. So then sometimes they actually report those for you at additional locations. All right, with all that said, the other thing, the NAV. NAV.com can help you locate business loans, business credit, and all that. So what we're trying to do here is, yes, you can get things done with the 80 Paydex score, but we're trying to get to 90, okay, 95, where people are saying, okay, we need to give this guy some credit because he's paying all his creditors on time, and we know we can get paid on time. So this is why you need more trade lines. So that's why people start going into fleet credit cards, meaning if you have a car and you're using your automobiles to drive around, people like to get the fleet card. So when you're getting gas, instead of paying out of your pocket, you pay for the card, then you pay the card, the monthly dues, and then it's reporting on your credit report. So those of you who have called me up and who have run down my program before all know I love the 10 trade lines or more. I love that because at 10, 11, 12, 13 trade lines, what happens? You start getting things in the mail. You're not going to have to use your personal credit score for other funding. There's ways to get things done. You can go down and use your business and get a car. And, you know, there's certain ones that are more lenient than others that you don't need a PG. You know, like, believe it or not, you can go down to Mercedes-Benz. Everybody wants a Benz, right? Not everybody. Not me, but a lot of people want Benz. But, you know, you go down to Ford, for instance, and they're like, okay, cool. We can make it happen. You know, things like that without a personal guarantee. There's other car companies as well that, you know, that can do it. So these are the kind of things you want to do. And also, before I forget, you want to make sure that you have whatever your business is, that's what you want your email address to be. That's why, again, I keep saying this. Real estate on the internet, social media is important. Because if you don't have your name, like for instance, stopstrugglingnow.com, and I say, send me a message, support@stopstrugglingnow.com. If underwriters get something from you and they say, okay, we're going to email you something, and they check your email and it says stopstrugglingnow@yahoo.com or stopstrugglingnow@gmail.com, they're like, this dude, he doesn't even control his own website. What's going on here? So therefore, you always want your address whenever somebody contacts you to say at your domain. Okay? At your business domain. That's what you want to do. You don't want this funky stuff. No Hotmail, no Yahoo, no Gmail, no whatever else mail. It's just your company name, at yourcompanyname.com. All right? That helps you out with underwriters to get other business funding that you're going to qualify for. People don't think there's money. They think they get turned down. They're saying, I'm not, whatever. They have excuses. Well, the excuse is you didn't do everything correctly. You're trying to do shortcuts. And with business and with business credit, there's no shortcuts. You have to put in the work. Now, if you have a 700 plus credit score, there's a shortcut. But that's it. You'll do a personal credit, PG, personal guarantee. All right. With all that said, let's move along. We're over here now. Oh, the NAV. Right. I briefly touched upon it, but NAV, you sign up with NAV. You don't have to sign up right now, but eventually you can sign up with NAV, and then you'll find out you have other financing credit and things available to you. All right. Business credit program. We're here at StopStrugglingNow.com website, and as you can see, don't forget, there's a few things here. Hold, you know what? I need to promote the merch more often, don't I? So anyhow, here we go. Until December 31st, no shipping. All right? No sales tax. So whatever you pay, that's it. No additional fees. And in fact, those who are listening right now are motivated. So you know what the promo code is. Motivated. 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 And we have hoodies. And if you say, hey, Eric, I'm buying a t-shirt. Or let's go over here to the hoodie. Let's say you say, Eric, I'm buying the hoodie, but instead of the hard work equals entrepreneur, I wanted to say the other one. I will get you the hoodie with the other slogan on there. The other motivational t-shirt slogan. Because now we got to worry about kids. I'm trying to cut down on the cursing. So therefore, I'm not going to say what's on the t-shirt. So anyhow, now let's get down to it. Business credit program that we have. So now I gave you guys the stepping stones. Actually, I gave you more than stepping stones. You can actually start your business funding from what I've already talked about. But I'm going to go over the business credit program here because I'm charging a fee, and I'll just be straight out the box with it. Limited time offer, $999. That's it, one time. No other monthly fees, no other fees whatsoever. And by the way, if anybody needs business funding, you don't have to be in this program to hit me up and say, hey, Eric, I want to get business funding. Now, keep in mind, don't waste my time. Okay, I got to keep this straight and direct. Don't waste my time talking about I got an EIN, I got my DUNS number, I got one thing set up with Quill, and then and I'm sitting here going, okay, so what's your address? Do you have your domain name.com? Are you on 411? Do you have a website? I mean, come on now, you got to have all that stuff set up. Don't be acting like a crazy clown talking about, hey, I got this little basic stuff and I want $50,000 or $20,000 or $10,000. I'll just tell you, hey, do you have any money coming in through PayPal? That's right. Everybody, you hear me? Do you have revenue coming in through PayPal? Then just go get a PayPal, what do you call them? PayPal business loans? They have it. It's based on, they'll take the money out of your revenue that comes in through PayPal, and you get to pick 10%, 15%, or 20%, I believe the numbers are. So therefore, no credit check, no qualifying, no nothing. It's all based on your revenue coming in. Stripe even has a program like similar to that. So you can do it without even having it set up. But I'm just saying, if you're calling me up saying, hey, or texting me or emailing me or whatever, however you're contacting me and saying, hey, you're going to need revenue, preferably. You're going to need some business credit already established, preferably. Unless you want to do a personal guarantee, then it won't matter. Like I said, you need that 700 plus middle score. Make sure you got that, and then you can get business funding, but you're going to have to personally guarantee it, and you may not be able to get that 60, 70, 80,000 unless you have a high credit score. So anyhow, and you got to have revenue. All right, you have to have money coming in. So with all that said, here's what we're doing with this Business Credit Builder program is it starts you from scratch. Remember the name I was talking about? Remember what I was saying about your financial? Like, let's say I called it Stop Struggling Now Financial. Well, that's going to pigeonhole me, so to speak. That's like a little red flag. So if I try to get funding, I may have difficulty with certain underwriters, and I might have difficulty trying to get a higher loan or funding or credit card amount because I'm using that name. Versus if I just called this Stop Struggling Now Enterprises, we do business, now I have a different code, so to speak. So anyhow, with this $999 program, you don't need to know anything. Business name help. So there'll be like this little algorithm that helps you out with, you pick your name. EIN setup, you already know how to do it. But in this program online, you do it yourself. It walks you right through it. Same thing with getting set up with Dun & Bradstreet, which you already know how to do. With Experian, with Equifax, it walks you straight through. Business address, credibility check. As you can see, business phone check. All right? 411 listing with them, but you'll already know. If you got Opus, then you already have all these first, that business address, the credibility check, the 411 already done. Here we go. You hear me talking. I'm giving you the whole playbook almost right now. Website and email credibility check. Again, you don't want your name to be a certain name, even though you can still get funding with just about any name, but it pigeonholes you. So you want to be a kind of just a blank name that doesn't, when a person hears it, it may not give them the exact name of what the company is, but you want it to be business related. Or sales, consultants, those are fine. But like I said, if you want to say you're, like I said, Stop Struggling Now, media may be a problem, for instance, because media companies, certain underwriters don't like. So I'm just saying, that's why this website credibility check is very good. And if you have already bad business credit, there's a way to fix that. So there's always a way to fix it, whether it's personal or business. All right. Now, bank accounts and merchant account setup, that's assisted as well, but you can get that these days, any days. And even if you can't get merchant accounts, you can always use PayPal, Stripe, and a bunch of others. Business credit report, that's fine. You can still look it up because you're already going to be with the Experian, with the Equifax, with the TransUnion. So you can actually look up your own business credit. But hey, in this program, there's a way that you can pay pretty much almost like $25, $30 a month, and you can check all your business credits on all these different places like the Experian, the Equifax, Dun & Bradstreet. So I'm trying to rush through because this is going to be a long video, but not that much longer, so stay with me. So I'm just going over the $999 program. This is everything you get, and this is all walkthrough steps here. This is all walkthrough, so it's kind of like you just go with number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. You're checking off the boxes as you go along, and as you're checking off the boxes, you're becoming more and more eligible for higher lines of credit. Vendors knocking at your door. Creditors knocking, not creditors, but credit card companies knocking at your door for business, offering you, because now you don't need it really. So here we go. You get your Experian Smart Business. All right, we talked about that. There's some other vendors in the program that I haven't talked about that can get you your Tradelines, because again, what do we need? You've been paying attention, right? Over 10 or more. 15 is better. 20 is even better. All right, fleet credit cards, we talked about that. They have standard amounts. You can get higher amounts because, like I said, once you start having 6, 7, 8, 9 trade lines for business, they start going, okay, this guy's low risk because he's paying on time. His paydex score is 90, 95. We like this guy. And he's showing money coming in and everything else is already checked off the box up here. Now you're looking straight. But this isn't no 3-month program. You can get everything done. In 3 months you can start it, but where you're going to end up is still 6, 7, 8 months down the road, 9 months down the road, and then from there on you have everything set. And by the way, you will know how to do this for life. Okay, you're in this, you'll know how to do it for life. So if you can do it for one company, you can do it for 5. If you can do it for 5, you can do it for 10. All right, so now the funding that I was talking about, we can do it right now, but again, this is a PG needed, just what I was telling you before. If you have a 725, 750 credit score and you want to get funding, then hit me up. We can send it over and see if you can qualify for some funding. All right, here's your full credit report, and again, you can pay $30 a month versus like $150 a month. We have a special promo code for that, and instead of paying like I said, over $100 a month, it can be $30, and you can monitor 3 or 4 different business credits. Secure business loans, of course, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, no problem. Again, we have to submit it. Remember, it's business, so Monday through Friday, and the time you submit it does matter. So 72 hours, 96 hours, somewhere in there, you'll get a response. And of course, collateral needed. There's always ways you can get loans. If you have revenue coming in, but your paydex score isn't that high, then you can get revenue loans. You can get collateral loans, like if you have assets. Remember what I was talking about at the beginning when I said, hey, what do you got, those shares in the company? That looks like an asset. When I said put other things in the company, let's say a car, let's say it could be a building if you're into real estate. It could be anything, something of value. That's so I'm saying, okay, most of you right now know you can call me up. You can email me, and I just help you. I don't charge people. So with this program, once you're in, you have advisors that you can call on the phone. Pick up the phone and say, hey, what's going on? And they're bilingual, by the way, Spanish and English. So for a whole year, there's no excuse. It's up to you. You put in the work. If you want to sit there and just do your EIN number and do a domain name and that's it, and never do the first out the box stuff like Grainger or Quill, that's on you. It's nobody else's fault. Don't be calling up the advisors going, hey man, can I get business funding? And they're going to say, well, where you at? Let's look at your stuff. And they're like, well, okay, you only got the Quill and the Grainger. Come on now. Stop playing with yourself. Stop wasting my time. They probably won't say that. I would say that. But anyhow, they're going to say, okay, you need a little bit more, guys. Come on. So now you say, after you've done most of these steps, all of these steps, and you're rocking, ready to go, you have those 12, 13 trade lines reporting to the Dun & Bradstreet, reporting this business Equifax, business Experian accounts. Now you're saying, okay, I want to get funding. Here you go. Send it in to the finance officers. Send them your stuff. And they're just going to sit there and say, okay, let's go. And you got 5 years of this now. Okay? 5 years of business funding, and you're going to qualify for a whole bunch of business funding as long as you're doing business. And again, you can see down here where I was talking about English and Spanish, and then there's, of course, there's some other things. And just so you know, even though this is initial kind of coaching, so to speak, when you sign up, you get a 30-minute call because people need to know what your plans are, what type of business you have, so then they can give you some advice on the name of your business, give you advice on whether you should do a residential address or a business address, give you advice on do you need to boost up your personal credit score. It's always good to get your personal credit score also in line, because think about it. If your personal credit score can get you funding and your business credit can get you funding, now you have two weapons. You got two bullets, right? But how about everybody's going, Eric, I use a 9. Okay. Holding company. 8 other businesses underneath the holding company, aka subsidiaries. Whatever you want to call it. There's your 9 bullets. All right? It's up to you. Business is however you want to make your business. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And you know, in the end, it's always hard out here. The feds have just now said we're going to keep printing money to hold this economy together, and we don't care. So as long as you guys don't care, and the longer they can make it look like the stock market is going up because it's doing great, the longer everybody's sleeping. Don't be sleeping. This is Stop Struggling Now. I'm telling you, do not sleep, because 2020 or 2021, all those people who do not have extra streams of income coming in are going to wish they did. All those people who do not have the ability to say, can I get 20 grand? Can I get 50 grand? You're going to wish you could, because what's going to happen is the people who can buy properties for pennies on the dollar, buy homes for pennies on the dollar, are going to be the ones that are going to be renting them out and being able to dictate for the rest of their life how much another person is going to have to pay to live somewhere, and you're going to have revenue coming in for the rest of your life monthly like clockwork. What's the rest of your life? 20 years? 15 years? 40 years? Let's go. So everybody, get to the Facebook group if you want to get on with the emerging millionaires. We're going to make it happen. We're going to go over starting from scratch, and it has nothing to do with business. So it's going to talk about social media marketing, how we're going to help each other out, because we're going to go and travel around. When somebody posts in their website or their links to their social media links, we're going to go and post on it and comment and be a team. Millionaires, emerging millionaires coming at you. Thank you again. So please, keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.